Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Stephen Romo, in for Joe Fryer today.
And I'm Savannah. We appreciate you being here. We start this morning with the very latest on that prisoner swap and the dramatic homecoming for 5 Americans who have been held in Iran. While they are now safely home, there are a lot of questions and concerns surrounding that deal to free them.
Yeah, among those biggest concerns, the $6 billion that had been frozen in a South Korean bank. But this new deal now makes those funds available to Iran, though the Biden administration insists that money will only go toward humanitarian purposes.
Unfortunately, the deal that secured their release may very well be the latest example of President Biden rewarding and incentivizing Tehran's bad behavior.
There's a fundamental misunderstanding. The regime will never get to touch the money. They're not getting cash. They can't just cut a check and pull out the money for whatever they want, whenever they want.
Now, we're covering this story from all angles. Nagar Mortazavi is a senior fellow at the Center for International Policy and host of the Iran podcast. She's with us, along with NBC News global security reporter Dan DeLuce with international reaction. But we start with the NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach. He's in Virginia, where they just landed a short time ago, with more on this. Gary, what more can you tell us now that they're on their way back to American soil?
Stephen, after years of imprisonment in one of Iran's most notorious prisons, 5 Americans are now back here at Fort Belvoir. They just landed in the past few hours. Free Americans back on U.S. soil. And Fort Belvoir is actually larger than the Pentagon. It's about double the size in terms of the number of people that work here. It's filled with medical facilities, filled with a number of defense contractors, so a place where they can come get the help they need. And I have a note here from the pool producer that was inside and saw the arrival, saw them step on U.S. soil for the first time. I want to read a portion of it to you. Each of the former detainees were met by groups of friends and family carrying U.S. flags. They say tears and smiles and kisses and embraces were exchanged right on the tarmac minutes after landing. And the individual and discreet moments of tenderness unwound after 8 years of imprisonment for some of these folks. And after 15 minutes, they moved inside the airport tarmac, where they were greeted by more U.S. officials and some embassy staff as well. And this is the result of years of negotiation, as you mentioned, between U.S. and Iranians and even third-party governments. And it came down to the deal that you mentioned, $6 billion in unfrozen assets and 5 free Iranians now that the U.S. is moving back to Iran. So statements from all over the U.S. government expressing joy at this moment. And Secretary Blinken said something interesting yesterday. This now means 30 folks that were detained wrongfully around the world have been brought back to the U.S. during the Biden administration. Steve, Savannah?
Gary, also, I do specifically want to ask you, because I know you have some reporting here. We understand you spent some time with one of the families over the summer. Obviously, this has been such a difficult ordeal for those families. Tell us what you heard from them.
Yeah, I had to be able to have a conversation with Hannah Sharji. She's the daughter of one of the men that was released and is back on U.S. soil this morning. And she spoke to me about, at the time, how her father was still in Iran, and she did not know when she was next going to be able to see her father. And she talked about, she's in her early 20s. She talked about, she was not talking about how many years by the number of years that she hasn't seen him, but by the number of birthdays that she's missed, by the number of college move-in days that he wasn't able to see her and be with her. And you think about, you know, your own lives, what has happened in the past few years, weddings, births of children, big of life events that these family members simply weren't around for. And communication, obviously, very difficult through the Iranian prison. So this is something in a day that they have been waiting for years, guys.
Yeah, just hard to wrap your mind around exactly what it would be like to be away from your family for that amount of time with communication so limited. Dan, I wanted to bring you in here. We heard one of those hugest criticisms so far, the release of that $6 billion, which the Biden administration says is only supposed to be used for humanitarian purposes, medication, food, that type of thing. Well, through a translator, Iran's president said that Tehran has full authority over how that money is sent. A little bit of a discrepancy there. So how can the U.S. be so sure this will only go toward humanitarian purposes?
That's right. I think the U.S. is saying that there's a very firm agreement, whatever the Iranian president might say for perhaps domestic consumption back home. The Treasury Department has full visibility on that money in a central bank, in Qatar's central bank. It is not in an Iranian bank account. And now, what is true, of course, is by getting this access to this money to buy food or medicine, that frees up other resources, other funds Iran has in its own coffers to buy weapons or for other purposes. So that part is true. I think it's also important to point out that just about every U.S. president has had to make some kind of concession to hostage-taking governments or groups, dating back to Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, who famously sold arms to Iran to try to get American hostages freed in Lebanon, something that he first denied and then later admitted. Of course, former President Trump also made prisoner swap agreements, and there were 3 Americans released out of North Korea, and then after that there was a U.S.-North Korea summit that was sort of a reward to North Korea. That's how that was interpreted. So these are incredibly difficult decisions, and every president has to grapple with these.
All right, Nagar, we wanted to bring you in here and get some reaction to this. What could this signal for U.S. and Iranian relations? I know things, of course, have been tense since the Trump administration backed out of the 2015 Iranian nuclear deal. Could this restart talks?
Well, let me put this in context for a second. I am an Iranian American living in exile. I can't travel to my homeland specifically because of what happened to these people. And I see myself in those 5 people. That could be me or a family member. So that's how emotional this gets for many Iranian Americans watching here in the U.S. or even across the world. As far as your question on President Trump, yes, I think the increasing of tension, this is essentially the byproduct of 4 decades of animosity between Tehran and Washington. Each of them has a long list of grievances against the other without seeing the other side. And I think this all comes down to being an increase in tensions and hostilities between the 2 sides, and each seeing the other doing them wrong. And so I think the increase in tension, especially after President Trump pulled out of the nuclear deal, increased what he called maximum pressure on Iran, imposed economic sanctions on the country. It emboldened the Iranians, it emboldened Tehran to go out and take even more detainees and use them as political pawns to be able to do these kind of deals, free up assets or reduce the pressure of sanctions on the country. So I see this definitely as an increase and also a byproduct of the increased hostility. So I think the administration has taken a step toward de-escalation. This could be an opening possibly for even more understanding.
Important perspective. Dan, Gary, Nagar, thank you all so much. A suspect is in custody this morning in connection with the deadly shooting of a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy. A 29-year-old man was arrested Monday after a grueling hours-long standoff with police. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin has the latest.
36 hours after their deputy was murdered just outside the Palmdale Sheriff's Station on the road just behind us, investigators have a suspect in custody, and they're now focused on determining the motive. The manhunt for a suspected cop killer is over. SWAT teams arresting 29-year-old Kevin Cataneo Salazar in an early morning raid following an hours-long standoff.
For right now, we believe we have the murderer of our deputy in custody.
Authorities saying they recovered multiple firearms and detained the suspect at a home he shared with his parents in Palmdale, less than 5 miles from the sheriff's station, where 30-year-old deputy Ryan Klinkenbroomer was shot and killed Saturday as he pulled up to a red light in his patrol vehicle. Surveillance video from the sheriff's station's own camera capturing the moment the suspect vehicle stops next to the officers, then takes off.
Honestly, it's really upsetting.
The suspect's family says he had been placed on multiple 72-hour psychiatric holds.
He was mentally ill. He heard voices. We tried to help him.
The family would not confirm how he obtained the firearm, as investigators now work to determine a motive for the murder. Is there anything about him or that you've discovered as to why this happened?
That's the million-dollar question. Everybody wants to know, why would somebody do something this horrible? And we intend to find out.
Deputy Klinkenbroomer, engaged to be married just days ago, leaves behind a grieving family and community trying to comprehend this senseless tragedy. The deputy's family released a statement through the sheriff's office expressing their gratitude to the community that has come and laid flowers and candles here at the sheriff's station. They're also expressing how this grief is impacting their family. They've asked for privacy. Back to you.
Dana Griffin, thanks so much.
Well, the United Auto Workers Union is sending a warning to the big three Detroit automakers this morning. It says more strikes are coming if the sides aren't able to make some serious progress in the coming days. Meanwhile, there's more trouble for Ford, with auto workers in Canada also joining the picket line. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa has the latest.
Savannah, Stephen, good morning. The stalemate continues here in the Detroit area. You can hear the support for the picketers who are back out on the picket line this morning. And overnight, the UAW basically ramping up pressure on the big three. Union President Shawn Fain releasing a video saying that if there isn't, quote, serious progress on these negotiations by noon Friday, that more local chapters will be called on to walk out, adding, quote, they are not messing around. And then new this morning, Ford responding to that video saying right now they are working on contingency plans to keep Ford cars on the road in the event basically of more work stoppages. And then one more headline this morning you might have seen last night. Workers at Ford's Canadian plants were also on the brink of going on strike. That actually was averted at the last minute when those workers say they got what they called a substantive offer just minutes before last night's midnight deadline. At the same time, a lot of experts say back here in the States especially, it could be several weeks before the American public starts to feel the impact of these strikes. Experts saying if this drags on, they'll likely see car prices going up. They'll see parts becoming harder essentially to find. Of course, the union says, let that supporter go by. The union says if they expand these strikes, those impacts could hit much sooner. At the same time, we are also getting sort of an estimate on the literal cost of these strikes to the company. Goldman Sachs estimating that GM and Ford are each losing, or will each lose, between $100 million and $125 million per week if and when this drags on. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much.
All right, now to the bizarre and extraordinary search for a missing F-35 fighter jet, which appears to have finally come to an end yesterday. Authorities are now saying they found a debris field in South Carolina, and this comes a day after a pilot was able to safely eject from that jet during a, quote, mishap before the aircraft went missing. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Cubie has more on how this mystery unfolded.
After an all-out search that began on Sunday afternoon for this missing F-35, late Monday, defense officials told us they had located a debris field in a rural part of South Carolina about 2 hours north of Joint Base Charleston. A mystery unfolding in South Carolina after an F-35 fighter jet disappeared. And now all Marine aircraft are grounded. The jet was flying near Charleston, South Carolina Sunday when the military says it experienced a mishap, but is not providing any details on exactly what happened. The pilot ejected safely and was taken to a nearby hospital. The jet, on the other hand, continued to fly and disappeared, leading Joint Base Charleston to ask the public for help finding it, tweeting, "If you have any information that may help our recovery teams locate the F-35, please call the Base Defense Operations Center." Officials are focusing around 2 lakes north of the base near its last known location.
My understanding is the transponder malfunctioned, and that was an issue. We don't know why the pilot ejected. Obviously, we'll get answers to that at a later time.
Marine Corps leadership ordered all their aircraft grounded for 2 days in the wake of the missing F-35 and 2 deadly crashes last month. An F-18 crashed near San Diego, killing the pilot, and an MV-22 Osprey went down in Australia, killing 3 Marines on board. The F-35 stealth fighter jet is the Pentagon's most expensive weapon system, with a whopping $100 million price tag. Its ability to hide put to the test as search and recovery continues. One of the big questions remains, why wasn't the U.S. military able to communicate with the F-35 after it disappeared? According to one U.S. official, it appears that the transponder may have malfunctioned. Of course, this entire incident is now under investigation.
Such a head scratcher. Courtney, thank you.
That's a great way to put it. Well, we are keeping an eye on some flood watches in the New England area.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman joins us now with more. Hey, Angie.
Hey there. Good morning, guys. We've got still some rain around the same kind of similar area that we did yesterday, although parts of the Northeast much drier. We've just got the rain draped across parts of northern New England, Maine, New Hampshire, a little bit in Vermont and parts of New York as well. But the good news is those flood watches that you mentioned, a lot of them have come down so far this morning. We've got really saturated grounds in parts of Maine and New Hampshire, of course. So that's where some of the spots will remain for flooding concerns. So just a heads up, if you live in any of these areas, you might see some flooding concerns throughout the morning hours. Most of those will start to expire at the latest by early afternoon. So we'll see some improvements there. The coastal low that has been responsible for all this rain working through is on its way out. It's going to move over parts of eastern Canada. And so we'll gradually start that drying from south to north throughout the day today. Moving to the Central Plains, that's where we'll have a good chance of some strong to even severe storms today. Places like Oklahoma, Texas, you could see those threats, including hail, winds. Tornado threat is low, but it's mainly going to be the hail and winds. And some of that hail could be upwards of maybe baseball size. So just a heads up there. We'll also see some additional rainfall, anywhere from 2 to 3 inches possible, but upwards of 4, maybe 6 inches for localized areas. And of course, 'tis the season. We can't not talk about the tropics. We have Hurricane Nigel. That is a Category 1 hurricane right now. That's a fish storm, though. We're not worried about it. It's not going to impact any land. It'll continue moving to the north and then eventually to the east over the coming days. We're watching one area to develop over parts of the eastern Atlantic, just off the west coast of Africa. We'll see what happens with that system, maybe a depression by the later parts of this week. And then notice off the coast of the southeast, that's where we'll see potentially a subtropical system develop. What does that mean for us? It just means that we're watching a potential low develop that could bring some heavy rain to parts of the Carolinas and up into the mid-Atlantic and northeast, just in time for, guess what, the weekend. So we'll be watching that area, guys, potentially interrupting some weekend plans. But the good news is Nigel not impacting us. We're not looking at any major systems working towards the United States in at least the short term.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. Good news.
Could be
Really
worse.
good news.
Yeah,
It's like a
love
little
it.
rainy weekend for that news.
Exactly.
Angie, thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.